fear can be a powerful motivator. Of all the fears that have plagued people throughout history, it has been our dreadful apprehension of the dark and of time that seem to have made the greatest impact on human innovation. From lighting technology to dispel the darkness, to timekeeping devices that measure the ceaseless current sweeping us toward our mortality, we have made many attempts to master both of these phenomena. Tonight, we're taking a look at how one person used one of these to redefine the other. Our journey examines its ongoing triumph, and it starts right now. Hi, I'm Don Hahn. Welcome to In the Margins. Now tonight, we're taking a look at how one newspaperman in 1907 changed the way the world looks at time for one night every single year. For as long as history has been recorded, people have invented many ways of measuring time. But today, just like in the ancient world, when it comes to trade or business, time is money. In the 12th century, churches and towns in Europe started building clocks in high towers. At first, these clock towers had no faces. They had bells, which would ring at different parts of each day to call people to prayer. Later, when faces were added to the towers, they were made big enough for everyone in town to be able to see. Even after pocket watches and home clocks were being widely used near the end of the 19th century, people still needed the town's clock tower to correctly set their own timepieces by. While clock towers provided a great service for people in town, they did absolutely no good to anyone on board a ship. In order to accurately determine one's position on the globe, it was necessary to know the ship's longitude. And in order to determine that, oceanic vessels started using marine chronometers in the late 17th century. Now, these were timepieces used on ships to keep time as accurately as possible so that their navigators can compare the ship's time with the local time and then fix their position. But like pocket watches and clocks, marine chronometers still needed to be reset on a regular basis. This was an ongoing problem since the faces of most clock towers were not visible from offshore. To overcome this issue, a British admiral named Robert Walchap invented what he called the time ball in 1829. The idea was simple. A pole was placed on top of one of the taller buildings in the harbor. A really large ball, usually made of metal, would then ascend to the top of the pole. The ball would then drop down the pole at hourly intervals throughout the rest of the day. Now, in this fashion, navigators on their ships off the coast now had an accurate, reliable, and visible way in which to reset their marine chronometers and get an accurate read on their position. Adolph Ochs was an American newspaper publisher who took ownership of the New York Times in 1896. In 1904, he moved their headquarters to a newly constructed building on Long Acres Square in Manhattan, which he later convinced the city of New York to rename Times Square. On New Year's Eve, 1904, Mr. Ochs celebrated the opening of the New York Times building with a huge fireworks display. The event drew the attendance of over 200,000 people. The gathering was so popular that Adolph Ochs made the fireworks celebration an ongoing annual New Year's Eve event. As the year 1907 drew to its close, Mr. Ochs wanted to do something even more spectacular than the huge fireworks displays he'd done before. looking for ideas, he comes across a brilliant suggestion from Walter Palmer, the Times chief electrician. It's Mr. Palmer who gives Mr. Ox the idea of using a time ball for counting down to the new year. Designed by sign maker Artcraft Strauss, this unique time ball was made of iron and wood. It was 5 feet in diameter and was illuminated by over 100 incandescent light bulbs. Now, shortly before midnight, the ball was hoisted to the top of a flagpole that had been mounted to the roof of the Times building. Now, 10 seconds before midnight, for the first time in history, the New Year's Eve time ball began its descent, slowly counting down the last few moments of 1907. Now, since this historic night, the ball has been redesigned 4 times. Now, instead of using light bulbs to be illuminated, it uses 32,000 LED lamps to light it up. And using light to redefine how people measure the last few moments in each and every year, Adolf Ochs' New Year's Eve tradition is still going strong over a century later. I love finding weird historic events like this one that have such long-lasting tangibility even in our culture today, which is why I'm always looking for new ideas. If you folks have any thoughts as to historic mysteries or events that you would like to see me cover on this channel, please let me know in the comments below. And as always, my fellow hidden history hunters, please keep digging. Thank you for watching.